Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. It's Brittany here with another video all about how to live a happy, healthy, awesome life in a wheelchair. And today I am going to interview my husband all about what it's like to be married to a woman in a wheelchair and about how we first met. I get a lot of questions from my friends that aren't in relationships and aren't married yet, just about, what it was like when I dated, how I met my husband, what it was like to tell my husband all about the things that come with living with a spinal cord injury, all that kind of stuff. And so, in honor of our 10th anniversary, which was on the 19th, I thought this would be a cool little interview to do with him. So, I also am very curious about YouTubers' families, and so I thought you'd want to get to know my husband. He's not as interesting as me.
Not at all.
But some of you might be curious, so you'll find out. He's not really that interesting, trust me. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of questions, and then I made like a little game to see how well we know each other after all these years. So here we go. Okay, how did we meet?
I was living in a town called Camrose in Alberta, which is, I don't know, about 45 minutes away from Edmonton, where Brittany was living. And my roommate and best friend wanted to come to Edmonton to visit some old friends that we went to high school with back in British Columbia. We came to Edmonton to go to our buddy's house to a house party, and it just so happened that Brittany was there. Her sister was dating one of our buddies, and she brought Brittany along with her. And we had a night of board games and drinking, and that's how we met.
And I remember everybody kept going outside to smoke. And I'm in a wheelchair, so I kept getting left by myself.
It's hard because there's stairs. Everybody's houses have
stairs
to get in and out the doors, right? So
my sister lifted me in, but everybody kept going out to smoke. And Joe just couldn't leave the girl in the wheelchair all by herself in the house, so he kept staying inside with me.
Even though I was a smoker.
I remember when I first showed up at the party, which I didn't want to go to in the first place. My sister kind of dragged me there, and I was like, fine, I'll go. I saw Joe, and I started flirting with him, and you can tell right away sometimes when people are like uncomfortable around your wheelchair, and he just was not having anything to do with me. So I eventually stopped flirting with him and started fighting with him over games because he kept winning everything, and it was irritating the crap out of me. So then I was just getting really competitive and wanted to beat him. And then somewhere in the middle of that, then he started like flirting with me. So I'm not sure what happened in the midst of all that, but yeah, that's how we met. And that was like the last time I ever really drank much to abandon.
Yeah, false advertising.
False advertising, that's what he says, yeah. Well, I let you drink and I take care of the children.
That's right,
so.
No complaints.
Yeah, no complaints.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so what was your first impression of me?
So I don't remember my initial first impression, like when I first saw you, but for like the first night, you were talking about how my demeanor changed, I guess, or all of a sudden I started showing interest. That was my takeaway from the night, was like we were playing like trivia games and we were talking politics and stuff like that. And you're arguing with me, and the competitive nature is what intrigues me, because it shows that you were intelligent for one, and that you would challenge me type deal, right? So it's not like I grew up around people with disabilities or in wheelchairs or anything like that. So obviously it was a little bit uncomfortable in the first initial, time, because you don't know what to expect. You're worried, like, if I look at her, is she gonna think I'm staring at her? And like, are you gonna get mad? I did have a situation like that when I was a kid, where somebody got really mad, and I was just, as a kid, you look and you're curious. And so once you started getting in that back and forth and kind of the tug of war type thing, that felt natural to me and was intriguing to me. So that was my takeaway. My first impression was, this girl's in a wheelchair and she's like super hot, which, kind of makes you stand out, and right? And then you were smart and you were challenging. So that's my first impression from the night.
And I haven't changed. I still challenge him every single day.
Oh,
Try and tell him what to do every day.
yeah.
So, you married it. When did you first know that you had feelings for me? Like real feelings? Do you remember?
We didn't see each other much for like the first 6 months. We talked on the phone and Facebook and stuff like that. I do know that it took me a long time to come to the decision that I would actually hang out with you, or the decision that yes, I'll date her if she wants to date type deal. I may have been a rake or a player prior to that, but I absolutely did not want to bring that into a relationship with somebody in a wheelchair. Now you can look at that as good or bad, right? Like, why should they be treated any different, right? That's the way I look at it now. But back then I'm like, I was more worried about my own persona or people's impressions of me, and I definitely did not want to be the guy who played a girl in a wheelchair. So I had to make sure that I was ready to make that commitment and make an honest go of it, before even, contemplating actually doing that.
Mm-hmm. Didn't want to be that guy that just says, hey, I had sex with somebody in a wheelchair.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so did you ever think about not dating me because of my wheelchair?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
100%.
On and off for the first 6 months, for sure, yeah.
Okay, were you embarrassed to tell people about me?
No.
About that I was in a
Like
wheelchair
I said,
or anything?
I took the time to figure it out, whether it was going to be worth a go and whether I was ready for that. And going through that process and all of those scenarios in my head and everything else, once I came to the decision, no, not at all.
All right. What did your friends and family think when you first told them that you were dating a girl in a wheelchair?
Like I said, a lot of the people that I knew were surprised. They couldn't fathom it. I'm sure people think that, oh, you have to be nurturing and, like, I don't know, the type of person that can take care of somebody else to get in a relationship like that. Pardon me. No, I'm still not. 10 years later, that's not me. So yeah, lots of people were surprised. As far as my family's always been supportive. It wasn't until we started getting serious that, questions came out that you would expect to come out from your family and the people who care about you and are concerned about you.
Yeah, for sure.
And those questions were really more around finding out whether I had my eyes open or not. Whether I was thinking about 30, 40 years down the road, where we would be in life and whether I'd be able to handle that stuff, which is totally fair for family members to ask. And I would totally ask that of my son too, if he got into a relationship with somebody with a disability.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was your reaction, or do you even remember? He probably doesn't remember. What was your reaction when you found out how I have to go to the bathroom?
I don't remember. I think that was at the hotel when I was working on the rigs and you came to see me.
It was, yeah.
It was the first night where we shared a room.
Yeah, we shared a room. I drove to a different town where he was. It was in a hotel that was not, like, accessible. He had to carry me up the stairs to the hotel room and my wheelchair.
Where she got to stay the whole day the next day while I was at work, trapped in the room because she couldn't get out of it because of the stairs and no elevator yet.
Yeah, no elevator. It was really not. Now I would never do that. But and then I was trying to go to the bathroom because if you're interested, I'll put a link to the video I did about how I go to the bathroom in my wheelchair. And I put my feet up on the toilet, and then I have a zipper in my crotch. So I was trying to cat that way in the bathroom, but I didn't have anything to put my feet up on because I couldn't really get in.
I had to get you like a garbage can.
Yeah, I couldn't get in the bathroom, so I was like trying to do it, and he kept hearing me like. I was actually trying to put it on the garbage can, and it kept falling. Like, I flipped the garbage can upside down, and then it kept
and then put your feet on it.
And I put my feet on the garbage can that was upside down, and then it kept falling, and it wasn't heavy enough. And he's like, "What is going on?" And then finally I was just like, I have to pee and I can't because this is how I have to do it. And so
did you get me to hold the garbage can?
No, I just told you that I have to cath. I can't feel when I have to go to the bathroom.
This is 10 years? No, this is like 12 years ago that we're talking about. So if I'm fuzzy on the details, it's because I'm old.
And I'm not fuzzy on it because it was really scary for me. Like, it was the first time I was spending a night with somebody that I didn't know very well, that I wasn't like super close to.
That's what she tells me anyway.
It was. Oh my God. Like I was a player or something. Mm-hmm. No. Anyway, at least in a place that was not my own.
There you go.
So there's the truth of it. Most of the time it was at my place. So I was comfortable there and I could go to the bathroom in the bathroom, but this was in a hotel that I couldn't even really get in the bathroom. And so I just didn't do bowel routine for the time that I was there, because normally I would have done it every second day back then, but I just skipped it, which I wouldn't do now either. But I did tell him sort of a vague idea of how I have to go to the bathroom number 2, but I told him how I have to go number 1. I could show him the catheters and stuff like that, and he seemed pretty okay with it. And then he put a chair in the bathroom for me, like the chair that was at the desk, so that I could put my feet up on that. And then I could reach the toilet at least, even though I couldn't get in the bathroom. I could reach the toilet to dump my pee.
I didn't have to dump your pee on the first night.
He dumps my pee all the time now, though. Yeah. So that's something that you get used to when you're married to somebody in a wheelchair.
Sure.
So that brings me to another question, which I didn't actually write down, but I just thought of it.
No, off the cuff questions.
Off the cuff.
Okay.
Are you ever like? Do you get used to the things that somebody with a spinal cord injury has to do,
obviously.
Like the peeing and the bowel routine and stuff, or is it still gross? Does it gross you out still, or no?
We've been married for 10 years together, for almost 12. Yeah. No, I don't think so. I don't even wake up now.
I pee in bed into a container.
Night, yeah.
So I don't know if very many people do that, but I do it so that I don't have to get up. And yeah, he doesn't wake up.
Not usually, anyway.
Not usually. I can't stand the smell of other people's pee, so if somebody's peeing in a room with me, I get grossed out. But I will pee in a room with anybody. I can't stand the smell of other people's pee, but other people smell my pee all the time.
Oh, and you know what? It's worse. So she pees in a container because she doesn't get out of bed in the middle of the night, right? And then the container gets a lid put on it, and it gets put on the dresser or whatever till morning. And as she said, there's times where I dump her pee for her. That's worse. Pee that sits in an enclosed container for about 6 hours.
And paralyzed person pee is gross because bacteria.
So yeah, I guess some of the stuff's still gross.
It is gross. You just do it anyway.
That's right.
He actually had to cath me when I had surgery.
That was stressful though.
And he figured it out. And it's not as big a deal as we really think it is once we get to know somebody. You know, those of us out there that wear Depends or whatever, it's not that big a deal.
It's biology. It's no big deal.
Exactly. It's not that big a deal when somebody gets to know you. It's just that initial thing where you're like, ooh, is somebody going to think this is really gross? And initially it probably is really kind of a weird concept to the person that you're dating. But once they get used to it, then it's really not.
It's all relative. Like, I have to give Brittany kudos that she was upfront and very informative about all this stuff, like really fast, which was good because then I was going into things with more knowledge. You know what I mean? But it goes both ways. Like, I think we were dating for quite a while when she told me, you know, you can fart around me.
Oh yeah, that was.
I would hold them in, and I would go home with like the worst stomach aches because I didn't want to fart around her. And then when you look at it in perspective, like the stuff that she was telling me and doing in front of me was like,
way
worse.
And he wouldn't even fart. And I'm like, he hasn't farted in like 3 weeks. He has got to be uncomfortable.
She regrets unleashing that.
Oh, I totally regret it. Now I can't. I want to plug that back up.
That's
just
right.
never fart again.
There you go.
So yeah, I guess it goes both ways. I think that's one of the things that you probably have to think about. If you're a person in a wheelchair And there's a lot of gross things or a lot of uncomfortable conversations that you have to have with a person that you're dating. Those conversations are uncomfortable for an able-bodied person too. Nobody likes to pee or poop in front of somebody that they're first dating. And nobody likes to fart in front of somebody they're first dating. There are some people that I know that still don't fart in front of their significant others, and they've been married for like 30 years. So these things are uncomfortable for everybody.
Or run the sink when they're going to the bathroom so you can't hear them.
Yeah. Like, why do people do that? That's weird. Anyway. Okay, let's keep going. Were you ever afraid that intimacy would be like a problem?
Oh my God, I was scared to death. I had no clue. Like, there were just so many things. I can't even put them all together. Like, yeah, no clue. Like, at all. I didn't know how to ask whether you could even feel what was going on there, right? Whether, and then you think, well, if they can't feel, is it going to be like down the road, they're not going to want to because they can't feel. And more so the biggest stress was worrying about your body being fragile, right? Because you can't move your own legs and
can't feel if it's an awkward position.
I don't want to say anything that's like too risque nowadays. But yeah, like just moving you around and moving your legs and stuff like that. And let's be fair, like you've been paralyzed for quite a while. And even at that time you had been paralyzed for a decade, right? So your legs are very skinny and feel fragile, and you're worried, okay, if I were to move your leg the wrong way, am I going to pop it out of the socket, or is something going to break? And oh my God, I was so nervous.
Yeah. I think the number one question that I got asked before I was married when I was dating is, can you feel sex? Like, I wouldn't even know anybody. Like, I would just go up to like a table at a bar and order a drink, and some guy would come up to me and ask, can you feel sex? Like, nice to meet you, dude. Get out of my face. So if you're a man and you're curious if a woman in a wheelchair can feel sex, that shouldn't be the first thing you ask her. Just so you know.
It's probably one of the first things that pops in your mind.
100%.
Like, I'll tell you, every guy I know, first question they ask me.
Yes. That is a very...
And I don't even know if I knew the answer after the first time. Because I don't think I asked you that question.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, don't ask that question. That is not the first thing you should ask a woman in a wheelchair. And if you're genuinely curious, get to know her first. And then if they're like me, they'll tell you more than you'll ever want to know. So... Yeah,
totally.
Okay.
But the answer is different for all.
The answer is different for everybody.
Yeah, so don't assume just because one person told you they can't or they can that's the same for everybody else, because it's not true.
And now everybody that's watching is thinking, okay, what's the answer? What's the answer? Right?
Yeah.
Should I tell the answer?
Hey, it's your show.
I don't know. This is hard when you're a YouTuber. Do you tell people these kinds of things? Honestly, I want to tell you guys everything, because that's why I started this YouTube channel.
It's hard today, though. You know what I mean? Like, Brittany does have a job outside. I'm a teacher. Outside of this.
So, and there are students that are subscribed to my channel.
And there is, you have to be, nobody knows. Neither of us are lawyers, and therefore, we don't know. So you're always taking a gamble when you open up about certain things about your personal life. Like,
I will say this. I'm paralyzed from the chest down, and I can't feel or move anything from below my armpits.
There you
go.
But she can feel when she has to pee.
I can feel when I have to pee.
Let that one puzzle you.
Yeah, which is really weird. So, I do have bladder sensation. What do you think when people tell you that you are an amazing guy for marrying somebody in a wheelchair?
Well, it depends upon how it's said and who it's from, and you know what I mean? If it's from a stranger, it's kind of...
random people.
When it's from a stranger, I don't know, it just doesn't even... I say thanks or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's from somebody close, then that's different, because then they know a little bit more, right? Like, everybody is not going to have the real perspective. Let's be honest. To have the real perspective, you would have to live here, right?
Yeah.
Like, even your family who's lived with you and has their own experience and even maybe stayed here, they've never really been privy to the way we are uninhibited, right?
Mm.
So, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's not like I'm a special person. However, when things need to be done, you know, like you have your surgeries and stuff like that has to happen, obviously I'm gonna do it. You're my wife, I love you, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I've
and
never
people might, who know me, might think that's out of character for me, you know, and then strangers might think that that's my life every day.
That is one thing that people think that, like, and that might be people's lives. Some people that are married, one person might be a caregiver, and it doesn't change the fact that they have a very good marriage, but everybody's relationship is different. But that is probably the number one misconception
or
assumption, is that is the norm, that if you're married to somebody in a wheelchair, that you are either their caregiver or that you have to help them all the time, that they don't pull their weight in the household, whatever the case may be, which is irritating for the people in wheelchairs, but it's
an evolution
human
too.
nature.
It's an evolution too. You know what I mean? Like, I think it would be fair to say that you are so much more independent now than when we met.
Oh yeah.
You know 100%. What I mean? So like now,
I was a weenie.
Now life is gravy. Really, the only annoying stuff is more psychological stuff that you asked me to do. It's when you get paranoid about everything.
What was that?
And you make
more
me
psychological stuff, like I'm a crazy person or something? What is that?
Absolutely. Wake up in the middle of the night and tell me to go down and check on Jacob.
Well, that's because it's easier for you.
Well, I know, but normal people wouldn't do it. You know what I mean?
I have gotten
there's
up by
some
myself
paranoia.
and taken my lift down.
You have. But what I'm saying is there's not the necessity that comes from actual physical requirement. You know what I mean?
Oh,
that
yeah.
It's more your quirky psychological issues.
It's making me sound like a person. No, they're like they're mother issues. Like, I want to know whether my kid who's in the basement that I can't like run to is okay. I wanted to have a baby monitor for a 12-year-old, and I didn't get my way with that, so he has to go down there.
Think about your 12-year-old boys. Would you ever want a video camera in their room?
No. Oh, there's one of our children. Not wearing a shirt, not dressed, so she's trying to reach
because
something.
Brittany keeps it at 24 degrees Celsius in this house.
Yeah, I'm in a wheelchair and I'm cold.
Yeah.
Those of you in wheelchairs know what it's like. Okay, so last question, and then we'll play a few little rounds of this question.
It's not going to go well. It never does. Not this type of thing.
The question and answer game?
I never fail to disappoint.
Disappoint?
There
Okay.
you go.
Okay, so last question. What would you say to someone in a wheelchair looking to date and not sure how to approach a new person with all the things that come with having a spinal cord injury?
I would say the same thing I would say to any able-bodied person. Confidence is key. If you're insecure, if you're shy, for me, I can only speak for what I'm attracted to, that's gonna make it super, super difficult. You know what I mean? But it has to be like a sincere confidence, and that only comes with practice and changing your mindset to I am who I am, and if you don't like it, then you're not the person I should be with anyways. But confidence, that's the way you were for the most part, and that's the way I try and project myself. Sometimes maybe too confident, but that's what I would say. Be who you are. There's no changing it. Why hide it? And I think it's a good strategy, maybe not on the first date, but once you decide to date each other, that you do start being open about things earlier on, because you're going to weed out the people who have issue sooner rather than later. And why waste your time You know what I mean? Like you were with me, about as much as you can to begin with.
And one thing I want to say is remember how devastated you were when you were first paralyzed and you learned how you have to go to the bathroom. So don't expect the person that you're going to tell to be like, that's awesome. I love that you have to stick your thumb up, or not your thumb. Not your thumb. I love that you have to stick your finger up your butt in order to go to the bathroom. Nobody's going to say that. Nobody is like, yes, that is my favorite part about you. Nobody is going to say that. If you're not excited about how you have to go to the bathroom, they're probably not going to be either. So don't get mad if they need a little time to think about it. Just saying, because we can get pretty worked up when other people aren't okay with our things, but we bitch about it all day long to each other. So it's okay when other people bitch about it too. That's just my opinion. So yeah, just let people process it in their own good time. If they're an asshole about it, then dump them. But, if they're just uncomfortable, give them some time. All right, so now we're going to play this little question and answer game to see how well we still know each other after all these years. And they're just random questions that I put in here. So you can go first.
Why do I gotta go first?
Why not?
I told you I never fail to disappoint. That's the way we start out. So the question is, what's their dream car? So I have to guess what your dream car is?
Yeah, what my dream car?
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't either.
When she's talked about it, it's always been like a van or an SUV or something like that. What I will say is the vehicle she has now, she loves. And don't tell anybody, but even though it's a minivan, I like it too. It is so comfortable and it has so many fancy bells and whistles and lots of power, and yeah.
I'll link to it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a Toyota Sienna. I'll put it in the cards above and in the
like the
description
sporty
below.
edition. It's still a minivan.
He says that every time he's in it. He puts the pedal to the metal, driving this sporty minivan.
Compared to my 3/4 ton truck, it takes off super quick. And, yeah.
Oh, this one's hard too. Which Disney character are they most like? Gaston.
Oh, I was gonna say
That's what you were
Simba.
Simba?
Yeah, that's me.
No.
Where I started out being a jerk and then
Gaston
turned into the king and, the honorable guy. Gaston was a jerk the whole way.
Okay, well, I don't know. Couldn't think of anything right away. Okay. Go.
I need beer in this cup.
That's normally what he's drinking in the evenings. And
It is what I'm drinking.
It's evening right now. It's like nighttime. It's like 10 o'clock
Yeah,
night.
I didn't get off of work till 7 o'clock. If they could throw a themed party, what would it be? Oh my goodness. I don't know. I want to say maybe a ranch theme or cowboys and
that's
horses
exactly
and
what
stuff
it
like
was. That's exactly what it would be. That was exactly what I was thinking. Heartland. I love Heartland.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Canadian show. Love it so much. It's the best Canadian show ever. Kind of cheesy, but I still love it. Okay, if they were on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, who would their phone a friend be? I'm going to try and think of the most knowledgeable person that he knows. I'm going to say his father.
So I would have said my mom.
Really?
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh yeah, it would probably.
My dad is totally smart, but when it comes to
random knowledge, your mother.
She's like me. Brittany always
everything.
says that, how do you know so much stuff that's random? And I get it from my mom. My mom's very well read, and yeah, she would definitely be the one that I would phone.
When we first got married, his mother she got all the paperwork to change my name and everything like that, because I was just like, I don't know how to do any of this. She did all of that stuff in 20 minutes. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Smart lady.
Yeah, she's so smart. Yeah.
How does your partner like their eggs cooked? I'm going to say as an omelet, because most Saturday mornings, she asked me to make her omelets.
Yeah.
Other than that, it would be easy or over easy yeah. over, however you say that.
It's over easy.
There you go.
Both of those are correct. Well, omelet or over easy.
Omelet with goat cheese.
Goat cheese, yummy.
And spinach.
And spinach.
And
yeah.
mushroom.
What is their favorite movie? I'm gonna say Avatar because
that would be up there.
We've watched that movie easily 20 times, maybe even more, and I still love it.
Yeah, that would be up there, along with Inception. That's another one.
Oh, I wouldn't have said that one, but okay, 2 more. One more for
one each.
Yeah, 1 each.
All right. Okay, last one. What is the thing they're most likely to go viral for?
Ooh, this video.
There you go. Yeah. Probably some sort of open and honest video. I don't know, with something controversial or bathroom related.
Nobody really. I didn't go viral for the one about how I found out how paralyzed people poop when I was first paralyzed. So I'll link to that one too, just in case you didn't watch it yet.
There you go. It was one of the early ones.
It was one of the early ones. So if you're a new subscriber or somebody that's watching for the first time, because interabled couples are popular.
This is our first video together.
This is our first video together. So this might go viral. Who knows? Fingers crossed. Okay. What is their favorite thing about themselves? What is my husband's favorite thing about himself? Everything. He is overly confident about everything. But if I had to say what his favorite thing about himself is, his beard that he misses very much. I don't know.
Hey, I'm a couple weeks into it.
Yeah, but it's not like quite the groomed beard that he had before. I'll put some pictures just so that you guys can see. In case this is the first time you're seeing him in any of my videos.
The last 2 videos were complete opposites. The first one was when we went to the cabin and I had my beard, which I've had for like 5 years. And then the last one was when I was sick and I had shaved my beard off.
Yeah, he shaved it off.
How about his smartness?
His smartness. Jamie is behind the camera, my daughter, and she says Daddy's smartness.
If I were to say what my favorite thing about me is now at this point in life is probably how I've learned woodworking.
I was gonna say that too.
I don't want to say self-taught. YouTube. Yeah. Over the course of whatever, the last 7 years, I guess now, maybe about 7 years. I think I've gotten pretty good, and I've never had one-on-one, training. It's all just been watching videos on YouTube, and all of you creators out there, like, awesome.
Yeah, really, seriously. There's so many good YouTube.
I have faith, especially with YouTube. YouTube's my go-to. That's where I consume most of everything. Is I have the confidence that there's nothing around the house or with the car or truck or anything that I couldn't do on my own just by going on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube is awesome. Hence the YouTube channel. There you go. Okay, on that note, guys, that's all we've got for you. We are going to end this video because it's like 55 minutes long. I'm gonna have to edit the whole thing because nobody is gonna watch a video that's 55 minutes long. If you do, then you're a loyal subscriber and you're my favorite. So just put a 1 in the comments if you actually watched it all the way through, because then I'll know who the good subscribers are. Anyway, that's all. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next time, guys. Bye. See ya.